So I have an overview here of what I'm going to talk about, a little bit of the geography, demographics, and terminology, and then a quote from the book and some comments to that, then food, plants, and celebrities that come from Puerto Rico or the parents came from Puerto Rico. And at the end, music. I know we don't have too much time, so I wish I could play you music all the time because the Puerto Rican music is really great. But you can later maybe click on the links I put on this PowerPoint and then you can see. And also I brought for you a handout. If you saw already the movie, the handout is a very good review of this documentary. And I will give you a clip, and I could circulate this here. This is the gentleman. You can circulate this. The gentleman who I'm going to use a little clip of right at the beginning, so you can see. That was an interview that came on recently in Rolling Stones. So, a little bit of an overview. I know you will have a history person coming talking about Puerto Rican history. So, but I want to give you a little bit of an overview. So, 1493, the Spanish crown found the island. And then in 1898, after 400 years of colonization, it's a big leap here, they were emancipated in a way. America helped them get independent from Spain, but then it became part of America. In 1917, Puerto Ricans were granted U.S. citizenship, and then 48, the governors have been serving there. Constitution in 52, and there are many different attempts to make Puerto Rico an independent country. They had tried many times, but it never succeeded. The island is at the moment in a very, very bad situation in terms of economy, and it's a huge debt. So people are leaving, have been leaving, and you can see in the chart below, since 2010, it's accelerating. See how it's going down the curve? People are leaving the island. So you just have to have an idea how the population looks like. If you look at the chart, you see on top there, there is pretty much what it is now, 3,600,000 people. You can see there is a distribution in terms of age, up to 14, 18%, a little bit less than 20% are young people, very young. And then you have from 15 to 64, the majority, 66%, and then going up, retired people, 15%. And if you look at it, what is more, women or men? What do you see there? Yep, women is about almost 52% over there, you see. And if you compare with New York City has around 8 million people. Can you imagine? This is almost like little more than a third of the city of New York. So you get an idea how many people are there. But I think I need to go back for a second because I skipped something. Okay, so you had an idea how many people roughly are there. And the location of the island you can see is right to the north of Venezuela, right? And then here, this is the Dominican Republic, so it's just to the east of Dominican Republic. Here is Haiti, Cuba, and then this is part of North America, of USA. So the location, and it looks like this. Now I have a question to you. What do you think in terms of terminology? Does belong to Latin America? Yes or no? How many yeses here? One yes, 2, 3. Yes. Why do you think Latin America? Although it's part of the USA? What is the Latin American side of it? What's the official language there? Spanish. They learn Spanish in school. So Latin is everybody who speaks Spanish, Portuguese, or French in America. So it is Latin. How about Hispanoamerica? Yes or no? Yes? Yeah, because that is Ibero-America. Ibero? Not sure. What's Ibero? It comes from Spain and Portugal are the Iberic Peninsula or so. That's why Spain, Portugal. In Ibero-America, Brazil is included, although Brazil speaks Portuguese, but also the Spanish countries. And then there's another term, Central America, that's geographic. You saw it, Central America was on the left. Is it part of Central America, you think, geographically? No, because Central America is the mainland. And then Caribbean? Yes. For sure, because it's part of the Caribbean. How about North America? Yes, they are citizens of the United States, right? That's why they can come here easily and settle down. So that's the whole picture. So they have a lot of hats on, the Puerto Ricans. So I have here, later when you will see the PowerPoint, you can click on this. Here, there's over 70 famous Puerto Ricans. I will show you a few later, the ones I think are important for my story. But you can click through this and find other ones and read their mini bios. It's very interesting, some very great stories there. I wanted just for you to see a little glimpses, about 2 minutes, what this person, you might know this person, Lin-Manuel Miranda. He is a very young, 33 years old person, and he is one product of public schools. He went to Hunter High School here. Hunter College has a high school connected. He went actually from kindergarten through the high school there, and that's where he learned theater. And he's the guy you will see later in his mini bio. He did already 2 things on Broadway, where the first one was In the Heights, where he got some prizes, and the latest big event, play he put on was Hamilton, and he's getting raving reviews for that. So he was a guest at one of these shows, and he has a little clip that I want to show you and see what he thinks and says about Puerto Rico, because his parents came from Puerto Rico. Let's see if this works.
Luckily, there is someone with Puerto Rican parents and an amazing voice, and he is here tonight. Please welcome the great Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, my family's from Puerto Rico, the tropical destination, where you can spend your Washingtons, the spot where you vacation. A commonwealth with not a lot of wealth, and not quite nation, $70 billion topic of conversation. Hoping to God John Oliver's comical dissertation resonates with the Congress that got us in this situation, along with suicidal tax incentive declarations. Yeah, we'll pay your bonds first, close the hospital, fuck the patients. This is an island 100 miles across. A hurricane is coming and we're running up a loss. We got here through a million misguided loopholes that giveth and take away businesses and poop in our soup bowls. They crapped in yours, they crapped in mine. And somewhere down the line, Strom Thurmond's ghost busted a cap and a chance at chapter 9. The great debate over statehood has to wait. That's Rose and Jack on the Titanic asking, when's our next date? The ship is sinking, we have to say impatient that matters. Then we'll figure out our Facebook relationship status. Will they or won't they? It's friends as Rachel and Ross. We have to help our island just 100 miles across. To recap, 3.5 million American civilians are on the hook for billions. Vulture funds are circling and lobbying for payout. There's nothing left to tax or cut. We're stuck. We need a way out. Allow them to restructure. There's no structure for what happens if you let this crisis play out. When May is less than a day out. It's nonpartisan. The hard part is in convincing Congress Puerto Rico matters, so their heart is in the fight for relief. Not a bailout, just relief. A belief that you can pass legislation to ease our grief. Paul Ryan, I'll come sing Hamilton at your house. I'll do-si-do with Pelosi. I'll wear my Hamilton blouse. Your citizens are suffering. Stop the bleeding. Stop the loss. Help Puerto Rico. It's just 100 miles across. Thank you.
You see how intense he is about it, and he made it possible that students from schools can go see the play that nobody else gets tickets to for free in the afternoon. So he's very much public school oriented. So you'll see him later in one of my profiles. Now I want to go back to the book for a second. I don't know if you read chapter 14 already. Somebody's saying no. You will see there she quotes something that caught my eye that was related to culture. So she says, when I got back to home, the home is the place where the orphanage where she was staying, I hated it more than ever and was even more determined to get out and have a successful life and career. And that happened when she, for the first time, went to Puerto Rico, when she came back. Because she said, I had been to Puerto Rico and I had met Tia Aya and Tio Montserrat and Titi Blanca. I walked along the shore of my ancestral home, heard about the island sagas, fell asleep at the sound of the coqui. You know the coqui? What is it? Oh, what happened here? My coqui is not gonna play? Yeah, that's how it is. It's a frog, and at night it starts, it goes constantly, the sound, the coqui, right there. So, and then she says, I knew now that I belonged to something, and it gave me strength to believe I could do anything. So if you think of the whole scenario of her early life, you can see that at this point is when she realizes she's part of something and not just an alienated, rejected child and living in the bad neighborhoods of Brooklyn. So she suddenly gets a self-esteem boost and has a connection with some family members that love her, which she didn't have before, only one aunt. So this is a very crucial point, I think, a very deep reflection that she gave. That's why we want to connect this with Puerto Rico. I have a picture of the coqui here. That's a little frog. And so we talked about culture is food. And in the book you will see she loves when her tia cooks that typical Puerto Rican food. And she also learns how to cook it. She cooks it for tia when she's bigger, right? So I want to give you an idea of what makes the mixture of this type of food. They have Spanish and Cuban and Mexican cuisine, but it's a mixture also of African, Taino, which is an Indian tribe that used to live in the island and was mostly, most of them were killed, and then some American influences, of course. But they have some seasonings and things that we don't necessarily have here because that is a more tropical or subtropical country. So here you have coriander. This is the picture of coriander, or they call it also cilantro. But you have to be careful with this because some recipes use the fresh leaves, but if you use the powder, it gets much more stronger. So that's why theirs is normally stronger because they use the powder. Then there is papaya, cacao, níspero. I'm going to show you in a second what those are. Apio, plantains, and yampi. Here you can see apio is what we call celery, right? There you have it. And then papaya, everybody knows papaya, and that's a delicious fruit, right? And then this is one of the staples for most of the meals, which is bananas, green or ripe. Everybody, any of you had green bananas already? Yes? Yes. So plantain is the source. You could make tostones. They would look like this. They are then salty. You eat it with garlic and salt and stuff. Or you could have them ripe, which is called then maduros, which means ripe. And that is served always with all kinds of side dishes. Another one is the yampi, a tropical yam. Yampi. This is also, you could do lots of things with this. Flour, bake, fry, cook, whatever. It's a very white inside. I didn't have a picture with it. So I also want to show you some appetizers. Very, very typical is bacalayitos. This is from bacalhau, meaning that fish, right? So there is fish and some seasonings in there, cod fish. And then very typical, I'm sorry, this is lunchtime, I hope you ate because I'm gonna die. And then empanaditas, which are like mini pasteles, no? Mini, and then they're big on soups. This is a soup sopón de pollo con arroz. This is chicken soup. And here they have very, very much used is the garbanzos, which are the chickpeas. Also here, pata de cerdo. Pata de cerdo is, it sounds disgusting, but it gives a very good taste in food. It gives like a little jello type of thing. And so they use that a lot also in South America, in Brazil, where I come from. We do that also in the black beans too. It's very common. It is African influence. And then asopao, which is like a big stew. You can see here, this is, they have all kinds of, you see they have this orangey color that comes from a special seasoning mixture they used. I'll show you in a second what it is. And you can get recipes. If you click on these links, you could maybe try out some of these things. Very typical is Arroz Con Gandules. Gandules is a little pea. It's not the regular pea, it's a smaller. It's very hard, so you have to soak it before you use it, and then mix it with all kinds of things, maybe chicken or pork. And this is the one that, the sofrito, this is a mixture they do have on the side all the time and put in sauces and stuff. It is a potpourri of onion, garlic, coriander, peppered brown in either olive oil or colored achiote. That makes it that orangey color. And that this is used constantly and all the time. People prepare big jars and just slap in a spoon or so. Very typical for a main dish is barbecued pig. I don't have a picture, but another one is a type of stew with beef. And then again, everything is served with tostones, which is the name of those green plantains, fried. But here, this picture you see, it is not tostones with plantains, but it is made of a fruit called breadfruit. So the tostones can also be made, of course, with, so these are slices of this breadfruit that is then fried. Of course, for dessert, they have cacao, like all Latin American countries. And then I give you only one example, which is very typical. This is a flan made of milk and eggs. Of course, there are a lot more food, and I'll just give you a little example of it. Okay, that was culture food. Another aspect of Puerto Rican culture is film and theater. And we have, I kind of tried to find out who were the big winners in terms of awards. So going back in history, you have a person called Jose Ferrer. You might have seen all the movies by him, because you see, he got his first Oscar in 1950. This is a long time ago, in a playing the role of Cyrano de Bergerac. This play has been revived and revamped constantly. And he also was in Moulin Rouge. This is his face, and he is, I found out, George Clooney's uncle, because his mom, George Clooney's mother, is his brother. So he's the first one that received an Oscar here in America. And then going down the line, we have the next person was Rita Moreno. Rita Moreno is a big woman. I mean, in terms of, she's not big, but she's a great performer. She's one of the few, I think 15 in America all these years, who received an Oscar, an Emmy, a Tony, and a Grammy. Can you imagine that? Oscar is hard to get, right? But so she did recording, she did theater, she did movies. And she started really early, coming from Puerto Rico with her mom, and was raised here. So she was born there, but she was raised here. Of course, our main star here, Rosie, was the next, but it took over 3 decades for another person to be nominated. And Rosie received an Oscar for, no, she didn't receive an Oscar, but she was nominated for Fearless. But in Berlin, which Berlin has a festival like in France and Italy, she received also a prize, special mention. Actually, in an interview that I read, she mentions that only after Berlin picked up the movie and gave her this award, that suddenly they realized, oh, maybe we should put her in the Oscars too. It was like they were kind of keeping her on the side. But there is, if you want to see here, 5 minutes clip here, if you click on it, it's Jeff Bridges, actually this is misspelled. He and her have a scene together. He's the main figure in that film, but you can clip and see part of the movie there. The next person that also took a while, and this is, you all know this person? Have you seen it, his movies? Yes, he was, the first award he got was in Traffic, and the interesting thing was that his role was a Spanish-speaking role. It wasn't even in English, because he was a sheriff in Mexico or so. That was his first break. But he is a very charismatic figure, and he also, I don't know if you saw, he was the person who impersonated or played the role for Che Guevara, a movie that was in 2 parts or 3 parts, I think. And he was criticized for that from both sides. He got an award in France, but he was also criticized. This one you know, and you knew that he was from Puerto Rico? No? Yes. He is, there is a scene, if you want to click here, there is 3 minutes in The Gladiator, where he plays that evil emperor. And that's where he got his prize. He's been disappeared lately. He said one day, I'm not gonna act anymore. He was hiding behind some mustache and stuff, but now I think he's back. He had one movie not too long ago. And then this person here he's not an actor, but he wrote a screenplay. Did anybody see Motorcycle Diaries? That is the early Che Guevara story when he did a trip through Latin America. It's a beautiful movie that he wrote the script, but it was really based on a diary written by Che Guevara. And he has other well-known. This person, I don't know if he died too young. He was a great actor, and you might know him from the movie Addams Family. You seen those when you were kids? Maybe you saw those. He plays the role of the main figure there in Addams Family. And then this lady is mainly on Broadway, but she's like there forever. And she's also one of the people who received the Presidential Medal, like the other lady I said at the beginning, Rita Moreno. So here we have her, mostly Broadway. This lady you all know more. Her parents come from Puerto Rico, but she was, I think, born and raised in the Bronx. But you have in the book, did you see that there was a moment where Rosie Perez hired her to be a dancer with, I think, In Living Colors? You saw that part? And there was a little bit of a controversy not too long ago. Even she complained about the treatment she got from Rosie. Like Rosie was very tough on her because Rosie wanted her to be in the same level of the other dancers, and she was a newcomer, and she had to work really hard to get and keep the part. So that was her first break. This gentleman is the one who, together with Rosie, prepared this documentary here. And you've seen him probably in some of these TV shows. He's been in many places. Jimmy Smith. And this is Lin-Manuel Miranda, my favorite of them all, because he's still probably going to surprise us with more things. He's the one who sang at the beginning. Now he cut his hair. He's in London filming for, I think they're doing a remake of Mary Poppins or something. So he's going to be the lantern in that film. So here we have a bunch of clips. I don't know how we're doing with time here, but I have some music clips I could show, but let me go first, finish the people, and then we can, if we have time, we can click here and do some sound for you. But you can all, here I mentioned a few of Calle 13. Anybody knows Calle 13? Yes? No? Yes. So there are some very good texts there. Here, speaking of music, you all probably heard of him because he was here for a long time. Tito Puente is one of those big timbalistas. Timbales he played. He's the guy who took the instrument out from the back of the stage and brought him as a solo piece up front. He's a great player. If you click it, you can also see a performance of Oye, Oye Como Va. Oh, now I'm going there. No, I don't want to go there. Okay, so here the other one is Jose Feliciano. He's the best guitar player around, I think. And he's blind, and he's just, you know him from Feliz Navidad, probably. That song that everybody sings for Christmas, right? So that's his big breakthrough. And here, of course, Marc Anthony, you know, he used to be married to the lady I showed before. They have, I think, twins or so. And this gentleman here, I have a clip of Vida Loca if you want to see, but everybody probably knows that. That was his breakthrough. Ricky Martin, he has been very active too, not recently, but in the past. And, oh, I forgot to put the title. You had last week or so, 2 weeks ago, somebody talking about a lady from literature, right? Burgos? Yes? So, I mean, each of these people, you probably could spend a whole presentation on each of them. That's why we're just scratching the surface today. But this Rosario Ferre is a well-known writer, same as Burgos, or Burgos might be more classical than her, but she is also here very well known. And here you have a mini bio of Julio De Burgos that you heard about previously. In sport, I only picked one example. He was a big, fantastic Roberto Clemente, a baseball player. At that time, of course, look at this, 55-72, right? He had to face some serious racism problems, which at the time was really tough, but he was always a very cool guy, and he always dealt with it with a lot of pride. And then we had people in medicine too. This lady here, Antonia Coelho Novello, she was the admiral in the public health. The public health administrator. And also another very important person is in law. You know who she is? Law. Sonia Maria Sotomayor. She is Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. And she's the one who came up with that expression, a wise Latina, like a very bright woman, but Latina can be wise and can be bright. And I like the quote she said here, which is true, and we should all support this, which is, until we get equality in education, we won't have an equal society. So we have to really hope that the government will continue supporting public education more than it has done, and maybe not put so much money in other things that are not so vital for our existences. So this was the end of I want to go back to the music so you can hear, if you have any questions. How much time we have?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, good. So then I could go and, let me see, I will show you the Calle 13 has a video clip where, in which they talk about one neighborhood in Puerto Rico. And that is worth seeing, because you will see in the background some scenes how very poor people, really. It's not high class. It's the poor people, how they live and how they survive. Where did I put the music? This is Ferrer. Here, it should be here. If you understand Spanish, you will see he's talking about a lot of things people do there, and you could see from the pictures also how this is very poor life, but they have fun with whatever they have there. They make do, and they sing a lot together. At one moment he said, what did he say? We are children of a lot of different mothers, but we are all brothers here. And if you understand the Spanish, you can see it's a very typical way of talking Spanish. When he says, like the word is nada, for nothing, but they just skip the end of it. They say, I don't need anything more, no necesito nada, instead of nada, right? So a lot of words are like that people understand them because they use it like that. So that's that. These people, the Calle 13 is a very interesting young man. You saw the one that is mainly in it. That's the main guy in Calle 13, and he has some very serious social critical texts. There is one, I have it here, if you have the time at home, maybe you might want to listen to this. It's called Latino America, and you will see also the images. It talks about the whole Latin America and what's the situation of Latin America. The type of songs he composes and sings fits very much into a Latin American tradition called La Nueva Canción, the new song. It comes from the 50s, way back when a woman in Chile started composing and criticizing the society for things that were wrong. And so he does that too. He's showing things that are not correct, they should be improved. You can see that especially in Latin America, in that song where it's very strong. And he has other ones that are visually very, very hard to watch, what he's criticizing, what people have been doing to each other. And so there is one about, it's called Pal Norte, going to the north. It deals with this whole scenario of immigrants or people trying to come from South, Central America to America for a better life. That whole scenario of what these people have to go through to get here. So it's worth looking into these. And also I would like to point out, we will put this up in Blackboard so you can click through this. In the first one, there is an overview of history. Most of my information I got from this CIA fact book. You can see the link is here. But there is also where I played Lin-Manuel Miranda, this slide here. You could see the whole thing. If you Google, there is about 20 minutes where John Oliver speaks about Puerto Rico and gives an overview of the whole scenario, and it's a good introduction. If you're going to see the history person talking, you will get an idea beforehand of what he will be talking about. So there's a lot of things you could click through here and get more information if you're interested. Okay, thank you very much.